Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji, we can start.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistaki Shunvatam Swakatha Krishna Punyashravana Kirtanaha Hrudayantastu he abhadrani vidhonati savritsatam tatarajastamo bhavaha kamalo badayaschaye chetayetir anavitham stitam sattve prasidati evam prasanna manaso bhagavat bhaktir yogataha bhagavat tattva vidyanam mukta sangasya jayate. Hare Krishna. So today we are discussing from Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto, 9th chapter, 28th verse. It basically discusses on Prahlad Maharaj's mood of servitude to his spiritual master, who is Narad Muni. So let us chant the verse, and after that we will start discussing. 28th verse. Evam janam nipatitam prabhavahi kupe kamabhikamam anuyaprapatan prasangat krutvatmasa surasina bhagavan grihitaha soham katham nu vrishne tava bhratya sevam. Evam janam nipatitam prabhavahi kupe kamabhikamam anuyaprapatan prasangat krutvatmasa surasina bhagavan grihitaha soham katham nu vrishne tava bhritya sevam. Evam janam nipatitam prabhavahi kupe kamabhikamam anuyaprapatan prasangat krutvatmasa surasina bhagavan grihitaha soham katham vrishne tava bhritya sevam. So I'll just directly go to the translation. My dear Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, because of my association with material desires, one after another, I was gradually falling into the blind well full of snakes, following the general populace. But your servant Narad Muni kindly accepted me as his disciple and instructed me how to achieve the transcendental position. Therefore, my first duty is to serve him. And how could I leave his service? Purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. As will be seen in later verses, even though Prahlad Maharaj was directly offered all the benedictions he might have desired, he refused to accept such offerings from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. On the contrary, he asked the Lord to engage him in the service of his servant Narada Muni. This is the symptom of a pure devotee. One should serve the spiritual master first. It is not that one should bypass the spiritual master and desire to serve the Supreme Lord. This is not the principle of Vaishnava. Narottam Das Thakur says, Tandera charana sevi bhakta sane vasa, janame janame hayahe abhilasha. One should not be anxious to offer direct service to the Lord. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advised that one become a servant of the servant of the servant of the Lord. Gopi Bhartu Pada pada kamalayor dasa anudasa. This is the process of approaching the Supreme Lord. The first service should be rendered to the spiritual master, so that by his mercy one can approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead to render service. While teaching Rupa Goswami, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Bij. One can achieve the seed of devotional service by the mercy of Guru, the spiritual master, then by the mercy of Krishna. This is the secret of success. First, one should try to please the spiritual master, and then one should attempt to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also says, Yasya prasada bhagavat prasado. One should not attempt to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead by concoction. One must first be prepared to serve the spiritual master, and one is qualified. He automatically offered the platform of direct service to the Lord. Therefore, Prahlad Maharaj proposed that he engage in the service of Narad Muni. He never proposed that he engage directly in the service of the Lord. This is the right conclusion. Therefore, he said, Ham katham nu vrishne tava pratya sevam. How can I give up the service of my spiritual master, who has favored me in such a way that I am now able to see you face to face? Prahlad Maharaj prayed to the Lord that he might continue to engage in the service of his spiritual master, Narad Muni. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Dhyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Mena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadanti Swapadantikam. Vandeham Sri Gurum Sri Jutapatakamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Shajivam Sadvaitam Sabadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namavo Mishtapadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Shamate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namini. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarini. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Namo Mishtapadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shamate Shabbataka Swamiti Ramani Nama Acharya Padaya Nitaya Prabhadayani Gaura Gadadhamadaya. Evam janam nipatitam prabhavahi kupe kamabhikamam anuya prapatam prasangat kritvamasat surasina bhagavan grihitaha soham katham nu vrishne tava pritya sevam. O my dear Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, because of my association with material desires, one after another, I was gradually falling into a blind well full of snakes, following the general populace. But your servant Narada Muni kindly accepted me as his disciple, and instructed me how to achieve the transcendental position. Therefore, my first duty is to serve him, and how can I leave his service? So, very beautiful verse, and we will start looking on how we can be a very good servant to our spiritual master. Prahlad Maharaj is an example of a devotee, how, particularly in Srimad Bhagavatam, for his steadfast devotion to Lord Krishna, despite severe persecution from his father Hiranyakashipu. His spiritual master Narad Muni is an instrumental in shaping Prahlad's devotion right from prenatal education. Basically, it is when Prahlad is in the womb of his mother Khayadu. And Srila Prabhupada extensively discusses the relationship between Prahlad and Narad, and Prahlad's exemplary mode of the service, particularly in the 7th canto. Narad Muni imparted this spiritual knowledge to Prahlad while he was still in the mother's womb. This early education actually laid the foundation for Prahlad's future devotion. Prabhupada actually highlights the significance of early spiritual influence and the power of association with a pure devotee even before birth. If we think with a purely material point of view, it is impossible to understand the wonders that devotee can do others. In the purport of Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, 30th chapter and 34th verse, Srila Prabhupada confirms the importance of association of devotees and enlightens us on the behavior of the devotee. And pure devotee actually considers a moment of association with a pure devotee to be far, far superior to residing in the heavenly planet or merging into Brahman effulgence. The topmost benediction for those who are living in this material world are subjected to the repetition of birth and death in association with pure devotees. Example is, I've heard this particular small story. There was one girl, I think in Mumbai, was suffering from malaria, and she was admitted in the hospital. And doctors, even after 2 days, they were not able to understand the strain of malaria to give medicine, particular medicine, and temperature was going very high, and they were putting ice and everything. There, one devotee actually visits the hospital to see the girl. And immediately that devotee asks, why don't have a picture of Lord Narasimhadev and a Bhagavad Gita near the girl? So immediately he organizes a photo of Lord and also a Bhagavad Gita there. And surprisingly, within the next few hours, the strain was identified and proper medicine was inducted, and the girl was discharged from the hospital within 2 days. So importance is a devotee coming to the hospital, giving association to the girl, and at the same time having a picture of Lord Narasimhadev or lordships and praying to lordships on a daily basis. So that will actually give a lot of strength in curing the patient. So in Bhagavatam 7.14.2, a pure devotee, Narada Muni, actually guides us. Griheshvavasthito rajan kriyak kurvan yathochitaha Vasudevarpanam sakshat upasita mahamunin. Narad Muni says, my dear king, those who stay at home as householders must act to learn their livelihood. And instead of trying to enjoy the results of their work themselves, they should offer these results to Krishna, Vasudeva. How to satisfy Vasudeva in this life can be perfectly understood through the association of great devotees of the Lord. Prahlad Maharaj accepted Narad Muni as his spiritual master with very firm faith and respect. This acceptance is crucial in disciple and guru relationship. The absolute faith in surrender to the spiritual master are necessary for the spiritual progress, as exemplified by Prahlad's relationship with Narada. Prabhupada actually writes a letter to Tamal Krishna Maharaj on 21st June 1970. In the letter, he says, "Please accept my blessings. I beg to acknowledge the receipt of your letter dated 18th June 1970, sent to special delivery airmail. Krishna philosophy is understood as it is stated in the Vedas. Yasya deve parabhakti yatha deve tatha guru tasya yete khatitha hi artha prakashante mahatmanaha." One who has got unflinching faith in the Supreme Lord, quote unquote, and similar faith in his spiritual master, to him only the imports of Vedic knowledge becomes revealed. So, very important. I thought I'll bring this up here. And Prahlad showed a total obedience. So, these are all the things that we can learn from Prahlad Maharaj. He is totally obedient to Narada Muni's teachings. A key characteristic of his servitude. He valued Narada Muni's words as an ultimate truth. The true discipleship involves unquestioning obedience to Guru's instructions, reflecting deep humility and submission. Once His Holiness Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj says in his lecture, he says, "You can be a rascal. You may not have any knowledge of the scriptures. You may not have material education, no money, nothing. I am not interested in these things. If you obey me cent%, that is all I want. That is enough. You leave Krishna to me. I will handle Krishna on your behalf." So this is basically talks about the submissiveness and the attentiveness. He is trying to elevate us and make us avoid offenses. Who else will do this for us? So, to become a true disciple is a not cheap thing. In Bhagavatam 2nd canto, Prabhupada emphasizes the importance of inquisitiveness. The spiritual master is always prepared to impart knowledge to a disciple, and specifically when disciple is very inquisitive. Inquisitiveness on the part of a disciple is greatly necessary for the progressive disciple. The examples, Maharaj Parikshit. In Bhagavatam, Maharaj Parikshit. In Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna. So Maharaj Parikshit was asking questions to know the many ways that we can do devotional service. And you can see Arjuna was on a bodily platform. In the first chapter, if you can see, he was seeing his grandfathers, his gurus, his brothers on the other side. And if I kill them, and so many things will happen. Varna Sankara will happen. What am I going to do with the kingdom? So many things. Then finally, he surrenders to Lord and accepts Krishna as his guru and requests him to guide him. So throughout Bhagavad Gita and on different platforms, Krishna starts giving him instructions. So that is a way that we can, surrender to our spiritual master and learn how we can do devotional service. So if one is not very inquisitive about the self-realization, one need not approach the spiritual master simply to make a show of a disciple. Srila Prabhupada mentions this. In the 4th canto, Srila Prabhupada gives another principle of true discipleship. to be willing to sacrifice one's very life for the satisfaction and pleasure of Guru. It is the duty of our disciples to take charge of the mission of the spiritual master and execute it properly. Otherwise, the disciple should decide to die along with the spiritual master. In other words, to execute the will of a spiritual master, the disciple should be prepared to lay down his life and abandon all personal considerations. Once Gaur Govind Maharaj actually describes Guru in a very nice way. Quote unquote, if Krishna's mercy assumes a body and appears before us, that is Guru. And he is called Krishna Kripa Srimurti, unquote. Further, he states, there are many who are Shishas, disciples, in name only. One is a real Shisha who gives opportunity to his Guru to inflict punishment and discipline on him, and who accepts the punishment and discipline gladly. Very interesting. So, Prahlad Maharaj, he actually applied Narad Muni's teaching practically in his life. Prahlad Maharaj not only absorbed Narad Muni's teachings, but lived by them. Despite being in a hostile environment, he practiced and preached bhakti, especially to his schoolmates. You can see that verse. Srila Prahlada Uvacha, Kaumaram Acharet Pradnyo Dharman Bhagavatam Iha Durlabham Manusham Janma Tadapi Adhruvam Arthadam. Prahlad Maharaj gives us the reason in the next line, particularly in the last two lines. He says, Durlabham, Adhruvam, and Arthadam. Human body is very, very rare. And also it is a temporary, but very, very meaningful. Day in, day out, we see so many people of a different age groups are dying. There is no golden rule that old people will only die first. Indeed, death is inevitable and can come to anyone at any time. Also, only in human birth we can love and we can serve the Lord. And Prabhupada actually illustrates that many practical examples of spiritual instructions in daily life. That is a true measure of disciples' devotion. And Prahlad remained steadfast in his devotion to Lord Vishnu, a direct result of Narad Muni's teachings. Even when faced with the severe trials by his father, perseverance in devotion despite adversities signifies deep-rooted faith in the spiritual master's teachings. See the example, Narad Muni actually, when he took Kayadu, wife of Hiranyakashipu, to the ashram, Narad Muni taught Kayadu the principles of spiritual life and glories of devotional service unto Supreme Lord. But Kayadu could not hear those teachings attentively, as she was very anxious about her husband's return and her child's well-being. However, Prahlad, who was still within the womb of Kayadu, heard those divine instructions very eagerly, and that hearing resulted in his unflinching devotion to Lord Vishnu. You can see in the first canto, second chapter, Shrunvatam Swakatha Krishna Punyashravana Kirtanaha Hrudayantastoya Bhadrani Vidhonati Suvritsatam. He said, Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is Paramatma in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses the desire of the material enjoyment from the heart of a devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. So hearing gives a lot of importance here. In a communication system, when the transmitter of a signal is a potent and the receiver is perfectly tuned to the signal, the transmission of data takes place very effectively. Similarly, in spiritual communication, when the guru is an advanced devotee of Krishna and a disciple is eager to receive knowledge and inspiration from the guru, the transmission of bhakti takes place effectively. Because of Prahlad's spiritual eagerness, being in his mother's womb with undeveloped senses was no barrier for him to receive the knowledge of bhakti from Narad Muni. Very important to note this. So, after that, he also shared this knowledge, preached this knowledge. Inspired by Narada, Prahlad engaged in preaching activities, spreading the message of bhakti to his classmates and others around him. And Prabhupada actually comments, spreading the teachings received from the Guru is a vital aspect of a disciple's service, demonstrating their commitment and understanding. And His Holiness Giriraj Maharaj actually brings up a point. When once in Mayapur, on the morning walk, Srila Prabhupada was walking with his disciples. Bhavanand Prabhu was there and Giriraj Maharaj was there, everybody was there. There is a embankment, so there's a hilly type of thing. And actually Bhavanand climbed up on the embankment and held out his hand to Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada helped him to reach, actually he helped him to reach on the top of the embankment. And when Srila Prabhupada reached the top, he immediately withdrew his hand from Bhavanand Prabhu's hand and just walked ahead, completely ignoring him. And that time, Srila Prabhupada explains why he had done that, to give instructions and a lesson. He says, this particular attitude, leaving a hand, taking a help to reach the top of the embankment and leaving a hand of a Bhavanand Prabhu, actually is an attitude of a Mayavadis, the impersonalist. They take help from the Guru to become God, presumably. And when they become God, they have no use for the Guru. So, therefore, he says, this is the opposite, obviously, of the Vaishnava principle, which is that we are the eternal servant of the Guru, life after life. And Narottam Das Thakur says, Chakshudan diloye janme janme Prabhu se. My spiritual master who gave me spiritual vision in my master's birth after birth, life after life. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Gopi bhartu pada kamalayor dasa anudasa. So even in the spiritual world, there is a parampara. We don't serve Krishna directly. I mean, the service is direct in a way, but we serve Krishna under the guidance, just as here. So, we have heard that, we know in the material world, it is an inverted reflection of the spiritual world. And everything that exists in the material world also exists in the spiritual world. Once again, another time, His Holiness Giriraj Maharaj actually asked Prabhupada's Sanskrit Pandit. Prabhupada used to call him Pandit always, the Pradyumna Prabhu. And he asks him, okay, everything exists originally in the spiritual world. So we have pride in the material world. What is the pride in the spiritual world? And Pradyumna Prabhu replies that the pride of the devotee in the spiritual world is that he is Dasa Dasa Anudasa. He is the last one in the line. He is the servant of all other servants. And that is his pride. That he has most masters because he is the lowest servant of everyone. And that is his pride. And he has the most masters. Very beautiful. Therefore, Prabhupada actually told us to address each other as Prabhu. Prabhu means master, which means that we are the servants of that our position. Gopi Bhartupada Pakamalayor Dasa Anudasa. But when we address each other as Prabhu, meaning master, we should actually mean it. As Srila Prabhupada remarked, we shouldn't say, "Oh Prabhu, please bring me your slippers. Bring me my slippers." No, that is not correct. That is not the meaning of Prabhu. Prabhu is a master and we are the servant. Prabhupada actually writes, I was told that Srila Prabhupada said, if anyone asks us to do service, we should accept it. And if any devotee offers to do service to us, we should refuse it. Because we are the servants. If someone asks for service, yes, Prabhu, I am your servant. If time permits, there is a Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur from Guru Prasanga. There are some quotes. We will discuss that little later if the time permits. Someone asked Srila Prabhupada about he could say breaking regulative principle or a matter of etiquette for the service of the Lord. And Prabhupada gives a beautiful example of Govinda Das, who was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's personal servant. So it was Govinda Das service. Govinda's service was every day after Mahaprabhu honored Prasad at lunch, Govinda Das would massage the Lord's feet. So one day it so happened that after lunch, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu laid down just at the doorway to the room, and there was no way to get in or get out other than stepping over the body of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which ordinarily would be considered as an offense. Crossing over spiritual master is an offense. So Govinda Das stepped over Mahaprabhu's body to come into the room and give him his massage. And then when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu woke up, he saw Govinda Das there and he asked him, "Hey Govinda, have you had prasad?" And Govinda says, "No, my lord, because you were lying in the doorway and I couldn't leave the room without stepping over you." Now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, "Well, how did you get into the room? You must have stepped over me." And Govinda Das said, "Yes, Prabhu, I could step over you for your service, but I couldn't step over you for my sense gratification." So that's yes, for the sake of service, Mahaprabhu says, we might. You could say bend a rule, but not for the sake of sense gratification. So this is the way we actually do service to our gurus. And our guru will in turn serve Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada again in turn serve Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, and Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati will serve Gaur Kishore Das Babaji. Like that is a parampara system. We offer our service through parampara, and similarly, the knowledge comes to us from the Absolute through the parampara also. So the parampara is such an integral part of Bhakti Yoga, of the process of Krishna consciousness, and we should never try to surpass the parampara. While teaching Rupa Goswami, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "Guru Krishna prasade pai bhakti lata bij." One can achieve the seed of a devotional service by the mercy of Guru, the spiritual master, and then by the mercy of Krishna. So Guru Krishna prasade pai, Guru and Krishna, the mercy of Guru and Krishna. But mercy of Guru comes first and mercy of Krishna follows. There is a beautiful story happened in Srirangam thousands of years ago. And there was a Vaduganambi. One disciple was there, who's disciple of Sri Ramanujacharya. He served Ramanujacharya with utmost devotion and dedication. Vadaganambi's service was to give warm milk every day to his spiritual master in the night. This service was done by him with full dedication and devotion and was uninterrupted and unmotivated. Vadaganambi was staying with his spiritual master in the ashram. And every day, the Utsav deity of Lord Ranganath would pass by. Every day would go through the streets of Srirangam to give darshan to all the devotees in the night. Lord actually goes in his chariot every day and pass through the ashram of Ramanujacharya. All the disciples of Ramanujacharya would come out of the ashram and take darshan of Lord with full devotion and dedication. But Vadaganambi never used to come out and have the darshan of Lord. The other disciples were criticizing Vadaganambi for being offensive to the Lord. The Lord cannot tolerate this, the criticism of his dear devotee, because he was serving his Guru. And he was serving his Guru and he was appreciating the Guru Bhakti of Vadaganambi to all the disciples. One particular day, Supreme Lord actually stopped at Ramanujacharya ashram and decided not to move whatever it comes. They were trying to push hard, pull from the front, never move. The devotees were trying to move the rath, but not moving at all. And they were wondering. It was becoming late in the night, and they were anxious to do Shayanarti and make the Lord sleep on time, so that he can be awakened early in the morning for the darshan. Sri Ramanujacharya understood this, the whole pastime of the Lord. And Ramanujacharya was the incarnation of Lakshman. So he knows. He called upon the dedicated disciple to come out of the ashram and take darshan of the Lord. After giving milk to Sri Ramanujacharya, Vadaganambi came out and he took darshan of the Lord. Immediately, the Lord's Rath moved back to the temple. The other disciples of Ramanujacharya were ashamed and asked forgiveness to Vadaganambi. So when one serves Guru with such a devotion, then Lord himself is very pleased. And by the mercy of Guru, one gets Krishna. Here, in particular thing, so here Prahlad Maharaj had the darshan of Supreme Lord, but he says, how can I give up my service to my spiritual master? Because I have achieved this transcendental position of seeing you face to face, even though I am completely unqualified to have your darshan. So Prahlad Maharaj is a celebrated and an exalted devotee of Lord, but his exalted quality is in exhibiting by his greatness of being humble disciple of Narad Muni. All glories to Prahlad Maharaj, because Sri Narad Muni because of both of them are exalted spiritual master and exalted disciple. In the purport to the above, Srila Prabhupada nicely says, the first service should be rendered to the spiritual master, so that by his mercy, one can approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead to render service. So while teaching, Rupa Goswami, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Bij. One can achieve the seed of devotional service by the mercy of Guru, the spiritual master. So this is the secret of success. First, one should try to please the spiritual master. Then one should attempt to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yasya Prasada, Bhagavat Prasado. One should not attempt to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead by concoction. So one must be prepared to serve the spiritual master, and when one is qualified, he's automatically offered the platform of direct service to the Lord. Therefore, Prahlad Maharaj proposed that he engage in the service of Narad Muni. He never proposed that he engage directly in the service of the Lord. Therefore, Prahlad Maharaj proposed that he engage in the service of Narad Muni. Ham katham nu vrishne tava bhritya sevam. How can I give up the service of spiritual master? Prahlad Maharaj prayed to the Lord that he might continue to engage in the service of his spiritual master Narada Muni. Srila Prabhupada has on numerous occasions mentioned that spiritual master will come back to the material world to deliver his disciples who do not make it back to Godhead. This is a very nice conversation. Actually, they go to Tamal Krishna Maharaj and a group of disciples goes to Sridhar Swami, because Prabhupada said, has numerous occasions mentioned the spiritual master will come back to the material world to deliver his disciples who do not make it back to Godhead in the same lifetime. This is extraordinary, gracious, and generous proposition. But it's true that once Srila Prabhupada said, if the disciple willfully breaks the contract with the spiritual master, then spiritual master is not obliged to come back. But under ordinary circumstances, he will come back. So they all go to Sridhar Swami, and Sridhar Maharaj says, well, it doesn't mean that he has to come back personally, but he will make sure that his disciples get guidance they need in order to complete their journey back home, back to Godhead. So they actually wanted to confirm that Srila Prabhupada will come back to actually take us back to Godhead. And Sridhar Maharaj actually confirms this, that he will make sure that disciples will get the guidance. There is another story, if you want to, if there is a time. There is a story of Bil Mangal Thakur. He was an aristocratic Brahmin family, but he had a weakness. Although in his previous life he was very advanced to the stage of bhava, but he had a very big weakness, and he became attached to a prostitute named Chintamani. So he was so attached to this prostitute that on the night of his father's death, he was encouraging the priest, please hurry up, finish. Because he wanted to be done with the rituals for his father so he could go and meet the prostitute. So eventually the rituals were completed in that night. It was a very stormy night, and to get to prostitute residence, he had to cross the river. A raging river in the storm, but he did. He grabbed hold of a log. With the help of a log, he made it cross the river. And then eventually he came to a prostitute's home, but the gate was locked and there was a big wall around it. And I mean, he shouted and she didn't hear him. And I don't think they had doorbells back then. And so he found a dead snake. He used that dead snake as a rope to climb over the wall. And eventually he came, and the prostitute let him in, and she said, it was so late and it was very stormy. So I thought you weren't coming. So I locked everything. And then she said, quote unquote, if you had as much attachment for Krishna as you have for me, it would be much better for you. And those words of a prostitute, Chintamani, entered Bil Mangal Thakur's heart, and he thought, yes, it is true. And at that moment, he decided to leave the prostitute and head to Vrindavan. And it's a long story, but I will cut it short. But on the way to Vrindavan, because that he had still that weakness, he started to follow a beautiful Brahmin lady. And he followed her to her home and her husband. So she said to her husband, this man has been following me. So the husband asked Bilmangal Thakur, what do you want to do? What's your intention? What's the purpose? He said, I want to enjoy with your wife. So the husband was liberal. He said, okay, you can enjoy with my wife. Then they went into the room and Bilmangal Thakur asked his wife, can you give me your hairpins? So she gave her hairpins, and with those hairpins, he plucked out his eyes. He said, these eyes are my enemies. Because of these eyes, I am attracted to a form of a woman. So he became blind. And on the way to Vrindavan, he was going again. Krishna comes and took him by the hand. And Krishna says, where are you going? And Bilmangal Thakur says, I am going to Vrindavan. He said, I am also going to Vrindavan too. You are blind, I will help you. You take my hand. And Krishna personally escorted him to Vrindavan. And when they reached Vrindavan, Krishna took his hand out of Bilmangal Thakur's hand and said, I have to leave now. You have reached Vrindavan safely. I have to leave now. And by then, Bilmangal Thakur understood that the boy was Krishna, and he said, all right, well, you can take your hand out of my hand, but you cannot take yourself out of my heart. So that is the story of Bilmangal Thakur. It's a part of the story. But coming back to the point of spiritual master coming back, that it is said that Bilmangal Thakur's spiritual master from his previous life entered the mind of a prostitute Chintamani and gave the instruction to Bilmangal Thakur that if you had as much as attachment for Krishna as you had for the prostitute, it would be better for you. So actually, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur has related this story and added his purport to his disciples that don't make me come back as a prostitute and don't make me come. So there is a very interesting fact that Srila Prabhupada revealed that Krishna wants us to finish up in this lifetime and go back home, back to Godhead at the end of this lifetime. So, and if Krishna sees that we are not ready to go back Godhead, go back to Godhead, when the natural time of death comes, he even can extend our lifetime. He can give us extra time so that we can finish up in this very lifetime and go home, back to Godhead. So, as I was telling you before, in the Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's few instructions, will wind up quickly. His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, which gives the definition, qualities, and mood of sincere disciple to achieve Krishna Prem. Number one, a true disciple knows his Gurudev to be someone who is extremely dear to Lord Krishna, who is sent by Krishna, and who is a servitor of Lord. Number two, a sincere disciple has the same devotion for his Gurudev as he has for Supreme Lord, and he worships and serves him in the same way. Number three, those who do not serve their Gurudev this way fall from their position as a disciple. Number four, no one can chant the holy name purely unless they see Gurudev as non-different from Krishna, as Krishna's manifestation. Number five, I shall serve Sri Guru and Gauranga with simplicity and sincerity under the instructions of Gurudev. Number six, my Gurudev has the words of Supreme Lord, and I will be obedient to that word in the proper way. Number seven, I will not disrespect my Gurudev under the influence of anyone in this world. If I have to become proud, if I have to become based, if I have to go to hell by carrying out the order of Gurudev, who is sent by Krishna, then I want to sign a contract to go to hell for all eternity. I will not listen to anything anybody says other than the order of my Gurudev. Number eight, By the power that has come to me from the lotus feet of Gurudev, I will throw out all other currents of consciousness of the world with the punch of my fist. Number 9, with just a particle of dust from the pollen of the lotus feet of Gurudev, can millions of people of this world will be delivered. Number 10, there is no scholarship, there is no good concept in the 14 worlds that is heavier than the particle of dust from the lotus feet of Gurudev. So a true disciple will have a kind of a firm faith and determination. This is taken from Guru Prasanga. This is worth meditating. So I will stop here. I hope I have made a justification for the verse. Thank you very much for patient listening. If anybody wants to make any comments, please do so. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you for the wonderful compilation. I mean, there's so much to actually to note down and to keep writing. It was just going unlimited. So I would not repeat many things, but you really touched upon a very important aspect of what it means to be a very sincere disciple. And you gave a wonderful thing of how the actual transmission takes place when you have a perfect guru and you have a very perfect inquisitive disciple, and that you brought about in various examples of you talked about Vaduganambi, and then you also talked about, of course, Prahlad Maharaj is an example. You talked about Vilamangi Thakur's entire episode of how the guru even then comes through the mind of the prostitute to correct him when you are sincere enough. So it was a beautiful compilation. I don't want to again repeat anything over here, but it was really amazing. I think it kept all of us very captive in the last 50 minutes. Thank you so much, Prabhu. And the lines the devotees are already muted, so please share your comments, and certainly you can have your questions as well. Thanks for your association after quite some time, Prabhu. We will look forward to seeing you again often. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Maji.
After a long time, Prabhu. I keep listening to your Kannada lectures sometimes. When they switch it on.
I don't normally give English lecture, Maharajji, so I am actually Kannada man, but I try my level best to.
But don't deprive us, Prabhu. Prabhu, actually, my question is, if you have a guru, Siksha Guru, who is very good, and again you get attracted to another Siksha Guru, already you are initiated, I mean, you are take the shelter, and then you want to ship the Guru. Just because that person has a flowery thing and maybe more knowledge, is it wise to shift from one person to the other person?
No, it's always, I have heard, you can have as many as Shiksha Gurus that you want. There's no problem. But your true Diksha Guru will be only one. You take the Diksha from a Guru, and that is your Diksha Guru. And sometimes, Diksha Guru is not present in front of you to take instructions on a daily basis or whenever that you need it. So that time you can have as many as Shiksha Gurus. Normally, temple president is one of the Shiksha Gurus. And as senior devotees in the temple that you are attracted to, you can take instruction from them. That person becomes a Shiksha Guru. You can have as many as Shiksha Guru that you want, but always the Diksha Guru will be only one. This is what I've heard from our senior God brothers. And even Guru Maharaj has said in some of the lectures.
Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
So there was a confusion, this thing. So I just wanted. I read
Thank
about
you.
The IDC about the Diksha Guru and all that.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Maharaj.
They get one person has got more knowledge, and then just they tell, and then you get deviated. I just wanted to know how it.
Okay, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Any other comments or questions to Prabhu?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandus Pranams, Prasannatma here.
Hare Krishna.
Srinidhi Govind Prabhu, very nice after a long time hearing your voice. Nice to see you also. Prabhu, class was very wonderful. Chanagitto. It was great in terms of how this Guru and then the Shishya aspect. But I think my question is very similar to what Mataji was asking. I just wanted your views on the multi-guru environment that we have in ISKCON, and also how does one prioritize if there are any conflicting things coming up? Then how do we handle that? So it's an extension of that question, since I had it in my mind. I'm asking.
Okay.
And also the view that ISKCON, like the administrative aspect of ISKCON, which is the temple presidents and that line of authority, and the Guru, where is that? How does one balance this thing? I mean, since if you can just enlighten us on that, it would be very nice.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a good question. But see, when you can take a second Diksha Guru, the question is sometimes what happens, the Guru actually falls from that position and he is no more in the society. And that time, disciples actually will be in chaos, what to do. So that particular time, they can also, search for another Diksha Guru and take Diksha from another Guru. So that we have seen in the past. So people, once the Guru falls down, they can take another Diksha Guru. And generally in ISKCON, Guru actually, spiritual master, travels around the world and always gives the instructions, always continuously in contact with his disciples, and disciples can write a letter, ask question to a Diksha Guru and take instructions from him. And at the same time, in ISKCON, generally is when they are attached to one particular temple, and they can also take instructions from the temple president. So temple president is generally considered as Shiksha Guru, and if they have any concerns or any questions or any clarifications they want to make, they can make from the temple president, or otherwise that any senior god brother or senior devotee, so they can take instruction from them also. So this is a general thing in the so
yes, Prabhu, I understand that. Also, that aspect of Guru falling, those are very extreme situations. But our day-to-day, sometimes, like some instructions of, say, like, for example, Guru would have said preaching or a certain type of preaching, and then you have a little bit of a contradiction in the methodology when there are instructions coming from another line of authority. Both have to be respected. So where do we resolve that? I mean, that's those small things which are there, that becomes this thing. But
the
extreme
local
one,
issues,
yeah, I understand that. I think we have clear guidelines. But when it comes to these smaller aspects, that's where then most of us, at least, we get a little confused about it, and then wonder.
See, generally the local issues are solved by the temple president only, Prabhu. Local issues are different, because the spiritual master will not get involved in the local issues.
Exactly.
So the local issues will be handled by the local temple president only. So,
makes sense. Yes, Prabhu. Yeah, I think, you answered. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhu.
That clarifies.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
We can take one last question if anybody has.
Hare Krishna, Srinidhi Govinda Prabhu.
Hari Hari.
Pranam. Thank you so much, Nectarian. Lot of pastimes. It's really wonderful to hear you. Lot of pastimes you covered so nicely. So I really, enjoyed. Thank you,
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you. Your blessings. I think we'll finish, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Vancha
Thank you, everybody.
kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyo vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Sure. Thank you so much for the
Thanks.
for the class, and thank you for the devotees who join us today and give the association. Thank you so much.
Hare
We'll
Krishna.
just meet tomorrow from temple. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I'll end the session now.